and advance his organization's mediation efforts to try and break the political stalemate in Ivory Coast. He has already met incumbent President Laurent Gbagbo, and he's also set to meet Alassane Ouattara, who's been recognized by the United Nations as the man who won the elections that were held in this country in November. Though they have been going on for the past 3 months, the African Union mediation efforts in Ivory Coast have had no results. The African countries have also not been speaking with one voice, with South Africa, one of the countries that is considered the leadership of the African Union, saying that the elections that were held in Ivory Coast were inconclusive. And all this now is making people here in Ivory Coast, to a certain extent, lose hope that the mediation efforts would result in a breakthrough and a resolution to their country's political stalemate. And this is one of the reasons, analysts say, why people on both sides of the political divide here in the Ivory Coast have begun arming themselves.
Nigerian soldiers have destroyed nearly 500 illegal oil refineries in the Niger Delta in a bid to stop the smuggling of stolen oil in the country. Special units using gunboats and helicopters were used to track down the makeshift refineries that were located deep in the mangrove forests. Experts say up to 300,000 barrels of crude is stolen every day by smuggling gangs in Nigeria. Last year, the Nigerian army intercepted a Greek vessel loaded with 800 tons of stolen oil. In Somalia, African Union peacekeepers and government troops are claiming some success against Al-Shabaab fighters. The joint forces say they've captured key positions in the north of the capital, Mogadishu. Commanders say they're also now in control of Beled Hawa, that's on the Kenyan border. Dozens of fighters are reported to have been killed in hours of gun battles. But the African Union is also paying a heavy price. It's thought that more than 50 peacekeepers have been killed in the past 2 weeks. Major General Nathan Mugisha from the AU's peacekeeping force, AMISOM, explained the significance of the Mogadishu offensive.
Troops from the Burundi contingent provided support to the TFG forces to capture 2 key grounds, which are the former Ministry of Defense building, Gashandiga, which I referred to you, and the milk factory. Gashandiga previously served as the extremist major operational and logistic base.
And just ahead, we'll return to the Libyan uprising and we'll ask just how strong the rebel forces are. Also ahead, anger in Russia over clerics claim that women wearing skimpy clothes are asking for trouble.
Hello once again, welcome to another look at the international forecast, and we've got some very stormy weather making its way across the eastern third of the United States. Look at this massive line of thunderstorms, chances of some tornadoes down into southern areas as we go on through the latter part of this weekend, and that really wet weather brings with it the risk of flooding right up the eastern seaboard. Yet more snow to come towards New England, just through New York, upstate New York, to that eastern side of Canada. Cooler air coming in behind once again. We'll see temperatures in Chicago struggling to reach 3 degrees Celsius as snow drives its way across the northern plains. And the mountain states also seeing some snowfall, rain there stretching as far south as northern parts of California. Temperatures in LA will struggle to reach 19 degrees Celsius. You come further south and we have got a decent amount of dry and bright weather until we get down into the Caribbean. Just around southern parts of Mexico, we could see some heavy showers through the Yucatan Peninsula. For the West Indies itself, it's fine, it's dry, lovely sunshine here. Temperatures typically now getting up to around 27 or 28 degrees. We've got plenty of sunshine too into central parts of Europe. It remains wintry over towards the east, but still very wet and windy for the southeastern corner.
From local traders to international finance, it's commerce that makes the world go round. For global companies and developing markets, communication is the currency, and information is the most valuable commodity. Counting the cost at this time on Al Jazeera.
See the world from every angle and every side. Al Jazeera.
Welcome back. Our top stories on Al Jazeera. Libya's embattled leader has called for an international investigation into the ongoing violence in his country. Muammar Gaddafi wants the UN or African Union to lead the probe. Libya's rebels claim to have taken full control of the oil port of Ras Lanuf. Some government soldiers in the strategic town have reportedly switched sides. And the state public prosecutor office in Egypt has received documents seized from the state security building in Nasser City in Cairo. This after protesters stormed the security offices on Saturday, claiming officials were trying to shred sensitive documents. Now, let's get more on the Libyan uprising. Mansour El-Kiachia is the chair of the political science department at the University of Texas in San Antonio, from where he joins me now. He's also aligned with Libya's opposition. I'd like to first talk about the fighting that's going on and about the rebel groups that are fighting. How cohesive are these groups? Because what you're seeing are sporadic pockets of violence here and there against the army. Is there an organized force?
There really is. Within the last 4 days, there has been a concerted effort to bring about this organized force and coordination. They've established a commander for leading the offensive, and they've been doing actually quite well. Even this afternoon, I was online with someone. Actually, they surpassed even Ras Lanuf to Bin Jawad, and then the outskirts of Sirt. So there's a concerted effort because ultimately they understand very well that it's a life or death situation, and they have to come together, and they actually are helping each other very, very well. In fact, there were so many volunteers that the military authorities that are in place today said we don't want any more right now.
But that is part of the concern. What you have are civilians taking up arms, those not necessarily trained in combat. And even our correspondent is saying that many of them seem rather disorganized and with a lack of focus. Could that not lead to more issues than actually being able to overthrow the government?
Well, tell me, what other alternatives do we have? I mean, this is what we are playing with what we have. This is the only thing that we have at our disposal. We have untrained civilians. Gaddafi very well kept us untrained, and so that he can put us down for 40 years. Now you have to understand, Libyans have had to go through this twice. Once under the Italians, and Cyrenaica lost half of its civilians. Half of the people in Cyrenaica were lost under Italian rule, long before the concept of Auschwitz or Buchenwald, 3 concentration camps. And now this is the second time. But what other alternative? We have a very docile population. But when they get angry, they're very, very fierce. We have only civilians, no more, no less.